Good evening, YouTube. What's up? It's Frosty Capone back again with another Frosty Vision. And today, speaking about Black History icons. Now, now you might hear the word Black History icons and you might think of these very famous prominent figures within the black community. We've got MLK, Martin Luther King. We've got Malcolm X. You know, we've got Huey P. Newton. We have W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Madam C.J. Walker. Oh man, the list goes on and on and on. There's celebrities, civil rights leaders, those that made industrial and technological advances and all these great inventions that we enjoy today. Like even the cell phone I'm doing this video on. Black History Icon is who helped to make this thing here. But when we hear the word Black History Icon, we don't think about people that we know. And these people that we know, no one else knows. These people could be our friends, and these people could also be our family. My Black History icon is Natline Glasco White, my mother. Now, being a brother, and we know a brother will ride or die for his mama, even if mama is a trip, can't nobody come up against my mama, cause cancel Christmas. But that woman right there, Natline Glasco White. White is her married name. Her maiden name is Glasco. Anyway, man, this is a Black History icon to me. See, because my mother grew up a little country girl in Teague, Texas, 1937. My pawpaw and the rest of the kids came from Teague, Texas to Casa Grande, Arizona, and then eventually finally settled in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I was born and raised. And growing up as a kid in the Marcos and Niza projects, I had it tough, man. But a lot of times, I had it tough because I was a little dude, and I walked with a limp because I was hit by a car when I was 2. So I was always picked on. And plus, being in the projects that I was, the Marcos and Niza, I was one of the few black kids that were there. Always getting picked on. But a lot of things that my mama would tell me helped me to stay 10 toes to the curb and not be moved. You know. Outside of that, man, there are a few things that my mama told me that if she had not have told me these things, and I was a thinker, she knew she could tell me certain things and then I would keep it to heart. One is that do unto others as you would also have them do unto you. Sometimes she would just say this randomly. And I would ask her, why do you say that? What do you mean by that? And she would just say, just think about it. Do unto others as you would also have them do unto you. If you think about it, it's simply treat people like you would want to be treated. That I kept in my heart. I still live by that to this day. I treat people as I want to be treated. And if they don't treat me the same way, oh well, I just might not deal with you anymore. But I'm not going to start hating on you. She would also tell me something like, if you make your bed, you lie in it. Basically, that's saying, you get into some trouble, you're going to have to deal with it on your own. Because see, coming from my generation, a lot of parents weren't defending their kids when they did something bad. My generation, you go to school and you act a fool in the classroom, you act crazy with the teacher, and your mother or your father find out, or your auntie, your uncle, your grandmother or grandfather, whoever you living with, or just anybody in your family find out, oh, it's on. They didn't go for that. My mama, my mama stood on business about keeping me in check. And I didn't make it easy for her. I was always trying to rebel. Because a lot of times I felt the whoopings that she was giving me weren't right. And a lot of times they weren't. My mama did have, she had been abusive towards us. Man, boy, but I'm going to tell you, she kept us in check. See, back then, it didn't matter. You called the police on your mothers back then in the 70s, police gonna laugh at you. Well, you should have listened to your mom and walk on. But she taught me a lot of things that helped to keep me grounded throughout my life, even though I didn't turn out to be a doctor like she wanted me to be. And I didn't turn out to be, a famous hip hop star as I wanted to be. I say hip hop star, not a rapper. Two totally different things. I'm hip hop. Anyway, you know, but she had put so much into me that helped to keep me grounded throughout my life, even though I did go wayward. Because the Bible does say, train a child up in the way that they should go. When they get old, they will not depart from it. I came on back to what's real and what's right. Um, One reason why she's a Black History icon to me, not just because she's my mother, but because out of all of the madness, there was a lot of mellow in that woman. She was a loving and caring person. She loved kids. She loved people. I mean, she got along with a lot of people, man. Everybody in my neighborhood knew her as Mrs. White. And every year on her birthday, I post up a picture and say, "Rest in peace, happy birthday, Mom." And I get messages from people that I grew up with that says, "I'll always keep the memories. Rest in peace, Mrs. White." You know, because I saw that she had that kind of love that was given toward her towards people, and I would see that same kind of love go back to those people, is one reason why I tried to stay grounded and be a person that's liked or loved. I'm not going to force it on you. That's just the way that I am. And I'm going to stand on that. That's not to say that I'm soft. Nah. No, not at all. That's a last resort. If it got to get stanky, it's going to get stanky. That's something my mother also showed me as well. She could hold in her temper. There could be just somebody that she just can't stand and always trying to rub her the wrong way. But when she start to say, "Okay, now, that's enough of that. I'm telling you, that's enough of that. Okay, one more time, and it's on. You do it one more time, then my mama's gonna go in." That's the kind of way that I am. I'm not quick to just go at you. I'm gonna give you a chance. Because at the end of the day, it's a petty thing. It's not going to make a major difference in our life. It's not going to give to or take away from our life. You just mad at me for whatever reason. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Or if you're just doing wrong to me out of nowhere, hey, we're going to have to get this right. Because neither one of us is losing any life, and no life is being added for this issue. So how can we come to a peaceful resolve? Well, it ain't none. Well, I'm going to have to walk away. Now, okay, but you still in my face? It's on. That's kind of person my mama was. But I always tried to stay mid-range, That's one thing she taught me. How to stay regulated in my emotions in a lot of situations, especially because I was a little bitty dude. The smallest dude in the neighborhood. And plus, I walked with a limp because I was hit by a car when I was 2 years old. So, and she also gave me words of encouragement. She called me some names too, though. Moms. Yeah. But that's my Black History icon. And the reason why I say she's a Black History icon, not because she was my mother, but it's because of this reason right here. In 2004, I had learned that she had cancer that had come back. She had esophageal cancer a few years prior to that. and she went through radiation treatment and it went into remission. It came back, and she was now on hospice. I had no idea. Reason why I had no idea, because 10 years of my life, I was staying under the radar, hidden from my mama, just one block away from the hood. No, I was in the hood, but not like, I was just a mile away, man. I could just walk right up Buckeye to 3rd Avenue, boom, to Human Street, I was right there. But anyway, man, I found out that she had esophageal cancer. This is while I was doing crack on the streets, man. I was in recovery when I found out. I wasn't doing any drugs then, and my life is going right. I was in school, and no, I had just graduated Arizona Automotive Institute, and I'm finally getting back onto the right track. Things was going pretty good. Things were looking my way. I got this call that her nurse hadn't been able to get in touch with her. A nurse I didn't even know she had, that came over regularly, 3 days a week. I didn't know she had a nurse. I came 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But her nurse came on the days that I didn't come. I don't know why I decided to go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but her nurse was already scheduled for Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday. Blew my mind when I found out. A few months went on. I was her medical power of attorney, so I handled everything medical for her. She was DNR, means do not resuscitate. She prepared me and my brothers for her passing. I didn't want her to talk about it, but she told me, baby, we all got to go sometime. It's just my time. And that reminded me of a time when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I was sitting up in the bed, supposed to be going to sleep, but I couldn't go to sleep because I was thinking about death. Afraid to die. I don't want to die. I want to live forever. And then I thought about, what if my mama dies? And that scared me. Because if my mama's gone, I don't know what I'm going to do. I would be lost if my mama was gone. And you think about this little kid, 7 or 8 years old, and your mama just gone like that one day, that'd be shocking. And just the thought scared me so much, man. I ran into the living room, and she was sitting on the couch, and she used to embroider. She was making a doily or something. She was crocheting or embroidering something. And I just reached and I grabbed her, hugged her around the waist real hard, crying, big time crying. And she said, "What's the matter, Chris?" And I said, "Nothing. I just love you." And she said, "Come on, baby, what's the matter?" And I said, "Mama, don't die." She put down what she was doing, and she picked my head up and she looked at me. And she said, "Baby, I'm going to die one day. We all got to go someday." And she put my head back down and just hugged me and just let me cry. And here I am, 33 years old, and that day has come that I have to accept the fact that my mother is going to pass. We had our ups and downs, and we mended a lot of, we patched a lot of holes in our relationship. Before she passed away, I apologized for the hell I put her through, and she apologized for the hell she put me through. And me and my mama, we were buddy. For the remaining 3 or 4 months of her life, man, we had the greatest time. My mama, she'd give me money. She had me to go to the store and pick her up some pack of Dutch Masters little cigars. She would have me go get her about 2 or 3 bottles of wine. She would buy me some cigarettes, and we just sit up and we'd just sip on wine and smoke cigarettes and listen to some music and just talk and laugh, just random stuff, like we best of friends. It was like the relationship that I always wanted to have with my mom. It was cool, and we caught up. Man, The only thing she took to her grave is who my daddy was. Anyway, I forgave her for that too. Well, man, it was such a great time those last 3-4 months. And September 7th, 2004. No, it was September 6th, 2004. She was telling me she couldn't breathe. She couldn't breathe. Called the medical transport. They took her over to Memorial Hospital, and they said they couldn't treat her for the type of treatment that she needed. So we had to go to Phoenix Baptist, which is on 19th Avenue in Bethany Home in Phoenix, Arizona there. And because they have a hospice unit. We went there. I spent the night. She was good. Now she's on the hospice floor. So I remember I tiptoed to the store. I went and got a bottle of wine, and me and my mama drank some wine that night, September 6th, 2004. And she was on the hospice floor. They pretty much let you do almost anything. And my mama was cleared to go ahead and have her some wine. She's in her last moments anyway. You know, that's the way it is with a lot of hospice patients. Me and my mama, we just sat up, we drank. We sipped on wine. We listened to gospel music here and there. We watched a couple of movies. I didn't know my mama knew so many movies. I watched a few good movies that she turned me on to. We'd go downstairs and we'd smoke our cigarettes, come back up, sip on our wine again, watch the movies. And I got tired. I said, I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep, Mom. She said, yeah, that's okay, baby. You go on ahead because I'm going to go to sleep too. I woke up the next morning and it was like her condition was like a full 360. Because I thought she was getting better. When we got to that hospice unit, she was breathing a lot better. She even smoked some cigarettes. Of course, that was most likely more detrimental, but then this is hospice. And the condition, the cancer had spread so far into her lungs, radiation treatment or surgery wasn't going to, it's going to do what it's going to do. But anyway, she wasn't really moving. She was very weak, speaking very low. And, and she had gotten so thin by that time that she was laying on her side and I could see her jugular vein as it pulsed. And I could see that it pulsed slower than I've ever seen it. And a few hours went by, she had gotten weaker and weaker and she was in pain. I was constantly hitting that button so a nurse can come in and give her some more morphine. It was kind of tough to see this happening with my mother. And before she passed away, my cousin Robert was sitting on her left side holding her left hand. I'm sitting on her right side holding her right hand. And she wasn't talking by this time. Breathing was very, very shallow. And she tried to squeeze my hand. I felt a little pressure on my hand. And I looked over to my cousin and I said, Robbie, you feel that? He said, what? I said, she squeezed my hand. Did she squeeze yours? He said, no, cousin. I said, you sure? He said, no, she didn't squeeze my hand. I said, she's probably going to squeeze your hand because you sitting over there. And I know she know you over there because you one of her favorite nephews. She going to squeeze your hand. About 30 minutes later, I felt some more pressure on my left hand. And it squeezed and I saw my fingers do like this. And then she released. I stood up and I looked. I checked her jugular vein. I didn't see the pulsing. I listened to her chest. I didn't hear that shallow heartbeat. And when I looked up at her and her head was turned towards me, I could see her eyes. You could see that there was life in those eyes at that moment. And as I'm looking in her eyes and was about to lean closer to ask her if she was okay, you can just see the change in her eyes. The spirit had left. I saw the life leave her eyes. That moment I knew that my mother had passed away, and the first two words that came to my mind was Black history. You see, because we know all the famous people in Black history in America and around the world. You know, not all of us as an individual, but collectively, we know Black history icons that are famous, prominent figures. But we also know those Black history icons that were personal to us, our family members, and our friends. And I just want to say to you, you know, keep that light going. Whatever goodness that they put into you, don't forget it. Hold on to it. And let that make you stronger, to build you up. Stand on business on that wisdom that was imparted to you. Stand on business on that love that was imparted to you from your past family member or that friend, your homie, your home girl that's no longer here, that was 100% with you from the womb to the tomb. Those are your Black history icons. Once again, I give it up to my mother, Natline Glasco, Black history icon. This is Frosty Capone with Frosty Vision. Rest in peace, moms.